A policeman in Bihar was suspended after a video of him using an AK-47 rifle against protesting students during the July 25th Bihar Bandh protests in Siwan district went viral. The statewide shutdown witnessed large-scale demonstrations by student organizations across several districts, with clashes reported between protesters and police at multiple locations. Now, according to official information, the Bihar Police Headquarters took serious note of the viral footage allegedly showing a police constable firing an AK-47 during the protest and subsequently ordered his suspension. The condition of the three injured protesters who are undergoing treatment at Jayaprabha Medanta Hospital in Patna is reported to be stable. Karti Chidambaram, Congress Lok Sabha MP, is joining us live on this big story. Mr. Chidambaram, thank you for speaking with NewsX today on a day when we've seen disruptions in Parliament once again in the second week of the monsoon session. A very important bill was tabled today, the exam amendment bill. This is, of course, a much stricter anti-leak bill that the government is bringing about to increase the sentencing for those convicted of exam leaks and also increase the fines as well. Will you be participating in this discussion on this very important bill, Karti Chidambaram? And why disrupt Parliament on a day that this bill was introduced today?
We want Parliament to function, but we also want Parliament to allow us to raise issues of concern. What we hear from Bihar is very worrying. If lethal force is used to quell and disperse voices of dissent, that is not how a mature and a democratic governments function. This is how dictatorships and totalitarian governments function. So that is a serious issue, and we wanted to raise that issue. As far as the paper leaks are concerned, we definitely want a discussion, and our floor leaders are in meetings with the speaker and officials of the Lok Sabha, and I'm sure they will come up with some sort of an understanding and mechanism. Okay. But let's understand that these leaks are not happening for the first time. They're happening for a long time. In 2024, there were leaks, and a committee was formed under Mr. Radhakrishnan. We don't know what happened to that report. We don't know what the government did with that report, what steps they took to strengthen the process. Here we are in 2026, and again we have another leak, and we have another committee. So definitely we want to discuss all these issues and raise all these points, but the usage of brutal force against voices of dissent is something very, very concerning, and no mature democracy will allow this, and that is why we wanted to raise that issue as well.
Okay. Now I have to ask you, of course, you've given a hint there that you could possibly participate in this discussion on that bill. Meetings are on with your floor leaders and the government's parliamentary affairs ministers and other representatives to perhaps break that logjam and ensure that this bill is taken up for discussion and passage as soon as possible, because it is the need of the hour. Now, before I come to the police action, which is again something that you and your colleagues in Parliament have been raising both inside Parliament and outside, I want to ask you now, this has been a very unprecedented week last week, a week which has seen protest inside Parliament, protest outside Parliament, Jantar Mantar, and of course across the country. The NEET paper leak was unfortunate. It should never have happened. But then after that, we saw, of course, a re-NEET, and now accountability has been affixed. The Education Minister has resigned. The Education Secretary has been changed. The NTA has gone in for an overhaul. The Prime Minister has, given a message to the youth as well. And we've also seen a task force being set up, which comprises of experts in multiple domains across the country. Are you satisfied with these steps that the government has taken? Do you believe this shows the seriousness that they have in overhauling the education system and bringing in reforms?
No. There are 2 points. First of all, I don't think NEET is needed. We don't need a centralized admission process for medical colleges which are essentially funded and staffed by state governments. This is anti-federal, and NEET must be scrapped. And NEET is an entrance examination system which gives no weightage to the 12th standard marks. Why should no weightage be given to 12th standard marks? Students go through a whole process of school education where they take this final exam, and then we have an admission system which completely disregards those marks. That is unacceptable. Secondly, it's anti-federal. And further, whatever the government is doing is post-fact. They have fixed accountability, or rather heads have rolled only because of the protest, and they needed to diffuse the protest. They have done it. But they still haven't told us where the chinks are there in the supply chain of setting question papers and by issuing them on the day of examination. A similar incident happened in 2024, and they formed a committee, as I told you earlier. What happened to that report? What did they do with that report? Why was it not implemented? Or was that report not sufficient enough? And why did this event happen again? So while they have removed people and the minister has resigned on moral grounds, that alone is not the solution. The solution is putting together a robust system of examination. But more importantly than that, there is no reason for NEET to exist because it's completely anti-federal. It takes no account of the 12th standard marks for which students go through a whole rigmarole. And these medical colleges are run, funded and staffed by state governments.
Yes.
And there is no business of the central government in interfering in the admission process.
Okay, and that is a stand that multiple parties in your home state of Tamil Nadu have taken on this issue, not now, but for a long time on the NEET. But now, Karti Chidambaram, coming to the police action now. Reportedly the police officer has been suspended. The Bihar police headquarters has ordered an inquiry on that video that has emerged. Also, the centre has assured the protesters that no coercive action will be taken against the protesters, of course, who also used violence, which is also wrong though, last week. But what are you seeking? The opposition has disrupted Parliament today on police excesses. What is something that you are seeking if you believe what has happened so far is not enough?
Since you have so eloquently summed up what apparently the government has done. What prevents the government from sending the Home Minister to the floor of the House to say the same things that you have told me right now? Isn't that when Parliament is in session? What prevents the Home Minister from coming and saying what you told me right now? Isn't that how Parliament should function? Isn't that where accountability and eventual responsibility lies?
That's something the Leader of Opposition told NewsX as well in a question directly asked to him. Rahul Gandhi said, we're seeking accountability from the Home Minister. So you believe the Home Minister needs to make a statement in Parliament? That's what the Congress is seeking?
Yes, definitely he has to come and explain to Parliament under what circumstances this happened, where did the chain of command fail. Obviously, I mean, if he believes that the government did not authorize the use of lethal force, how did lethal force come to be applied? I think it's only fair that the Home Minister comes and explains this to the floor of the House.
Okay, we've also seen now the Supreme Court. You're an advocate as well, so I have to ask you about the Supreme Court's observations today on protests as well. What do you make of what the Apex Court has said on this issue?
They have only reiterated what the Constitution guarantees as a right to us.
Okay, so they've reiterated that. However, do you believe that was needed, given what we've seen in the last week or last couple of weeks?
Absolutely. I think the fact that this is a country which will be governed by the Constitution, the rights which are bestowed upon by the Constitution need to be reiterated all the time. And the Supreme Court saying this is a very strong message to everybody down the line who has the power of the organs of the state in their hands.
Okay. Now, this entire these entire changes now in the education system that we are seeing, would you credit the students for
changes have happened in the
getting it done?
System.
Would you credit the CJP?
No.
Or would you credit Congress Party and your efforts?
No changes have happened in the education system. No changes have happened in the education system.
Okay.
There was a failure and accountability has been fixed and somebody has resigned on moral grounds. Nothing has changed. NEET exists. Nobody has said where the faults are in the supply chain of setting question papers. Nothing has changed in the education system.
More is needed. More is needed is what you're saying. My final question to you, will this monsoon session of Parliament function?
I want Parliament to function. My constituents elected me to a functioning House and I want the House to function.
And the onus for that is on the government? Or will the opposition parties also, find a middle ground?
Absolutely. substantial onus is on the government. The government has the numbers. They need not be insecure about the issues we raise.
Okay.
If it comes to voting, they have the numbers and they can win the vote. But they should not stifle a voice. In parliamentary democracy, it's always said the opposition must have its say and the government can have its way.
All right, Karti Chidambaram, for taking out time, thank you very much for speaking with us. And of course, we will keep coming back to you as this monsoon session of Parliament keeps